A test of wills in the Philippines between the president and his second-in-command. President Rodrigo Duterte has slammed his vice president for discussing his war on drugs with outsiders.
He also said he would limit Leni Robredo's access to confidential matters after she requested classified documents on the controversial crackdown.
Now, the president appointed Ms Robredo earlier this month, you remember, as a co-head of the committee in charge of the anti-narcotics campaign. She has said she would be coordinating with the United Nations and with foreign countries such as the US to create her anti-drug strategy.
She also singled out China as a major source of illegal drugs in the Philippines. President Duterte now says he does not trust Ms Robredo. He's accusing her of, quote, treading dangerous ground.
Well, let's get more now from Buena Bernal. She is our correspondent in Manila for this. Mr. Duterte did, of course, just appoint Ms Robredo to the role. What does this now mean for her future as he's number two? Any plans to perhaps remove her?
Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte says he will not fire Vice President Leni Robredo as co-chairperson of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs. However, what's happening now is a far cry from what was laid out when Ms Robredo accepted that position. For example, initially, all agencies were directed to support Ms Robredo on her role. The initial parameters were that this is a cabinet ranking position. Now, that has seemed to change. President Duterte is now saying that this is not a cabinet ranking position after all, and that her access to classified documents and state secrets, particularly when she requested for the list of high-value targets in the illegal drug trade in the Philippines, is limited only on a need-to-know basis. Thus far, Ms Robredo has already conducted a series of meetings with government agencies, law enforcement, anti-narcotics, and health agencies to be able to have a baseline assessment of what else needs to be done in terms of the Philippines' anti-illegal drugs strategy. She set a meeting with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime as well as the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines, saying this coordination is important given the transnational nature of the illegal drug trade as well as of the money laundering operations of these drug syndicates. On her first meeting with the committee, she also vowed to end what she called the senseless killings in the Philippines drug war. She said that everything should be within the bounds of law. And as a result, she's gotten more media attention. All this noise comes amid a review by International Criminal Court prosecutor Fatou Bensouda on whether there is merit to push through with a preliminary investigation on Mr. Duterte on the basis of alleged crimes against humanity in relation to the Philippines drug war deaths. There's also a resolution passed by the United Nations Human Rights Council earlier that green-lighted a review of the human rights conditions in the Philippines. In response, Mr. Duterte has repeatedly said that the international pressure is an undue imposition on Philippine sovereignty. State figures show that over 5,000 suspected drug personalities have died in police operations under the drug war, but rights groups peg that number at 3 to 4 times more.
What was the Vice President's response to President Duterte's remarks, and how does this affect her role as the country's so-called drug czar? Well,
Philippines Vice President Leni Robredo said that she will not resign. She said that the president can be frank with her. She said that Mr. Duterte can fire her if he so pleases. Again, these appointments are presidential prerogatives. She did say that she will write to Mr. Duterte to clarify the mandate of her role. Because if she's not a cabinet member, she's not an alter ego of the president, is she really the country's anti-drug czar? Can she set the direction of the country's anti-illegal drugs strategy? So these fresh remarks by Mr. Duterte raises the question of whether Mrs. Robredo's appointment as anti-drug czar has enough teeth such that she will be able to institute reforms in the Philippines' drug war operations.
All right, May, thanks for that. Buena Bernal speaking to us from Manila.